I will use this time to also say that I am very, very grateful to every single person who has been so supportive of this book. And for those of you who don't know what book I'm talking about, it's this one, Yard Mom 3. I'm so happy that you got the book plate and the journal. For those of you who don't know about the journal, I'll just show you that this journal we had made, which is a really amazing journal. It says The Gift of Forgiveness, and it's white, really soft, leathery type feeling. And it's a great journal. So if you're part of our Facebook ambassadors group, that's an amazing group of people that I'm so excited to have, and to be able to have such a great community. And the first 500 people that were a part of it got these journals in addition to signed copies of the book. So let me see, she's coming back. Let's see if it works now. If you guys do want more copies of these books and you're interested in buying them or getting them in some sort of a giveaway, we can figure that out. Is it working?
Is it working?
Oh my God, we have you.
Yay! Oh my gosh, it only took 15 minutes.
And that's okay. You know what? I heard it's your first time doing Instagram Live. So thank you for doing the first time here and with me and with everybody who's watching. I'm so grateful. And I think it's my mom, this week is my mom's, or maybe last week, my mom's first time doing Instagram Live. It was my first time doing Instagram Live last week. So we're all in this together. It's okay.
Awesome.
And as I explained to everybody while we were trying to get you on, that the good news is that a lot of us have time because we're all sitting at home. So
that's true.
And also this time is a great time to just let it go and let it all roll. And I had that as one of my things to practice in my Lent season, for those of you who are practicing Catholics like myself, to just like let it go and just let things kind of happen and unfold the way they are. So as Cora was saying, it's going to be a great conversation because it took a minute, and I'm so happy. I know that you and I were supposed to, I was saying talking a little bit about you before you came on, but I was saying that you and I were supposed to have a conversation in person almost 2 weeks ago now in Connecticut. And we were going to do an amazing luncheon and an event, and unfortunately got canceled because of the coronavirus situation, which is a crazy time to be in right now, but one that we need to be mindful of everyone's health, and everyone should be at home. So you and I will figure out a time to do an in-person conversation at another time. But if you are coming to the event, or if you want one of the books, Books a Million was amazing and can help facilitate that. So we will, after we're done with this live conversation, post a link to make that really easy for everybody on here. But hi, Scarlett, I'm so happy to talk to you.
I know, I'm happy to talk to you again. You know, you were talking about letting it go. And I think it's interesting that the Greek definition of forgiveness is letting it go. Did you know that?
Oh, no, I didn't know that. I love that.
Yeah. Such an important topic.
Yeah, no, it is an important topic. And I was saying earlier that for people who are, tuning in, who might not know your story, I would love for you to give a little brief preview of it. But you are somebody who I was so grateful to be able to have in this book, and to be able to learn from your forgiveness journey, which so many people have asked me in the interview process of this book, how was it? Was it really hard? Was it challenging? And I said that one of the people that I had talked to, which was you, that I really did need to sit with by myself after our conversation, because it was so much amazing information, and your story was so inspiring and incredible. And I'm so happy that it's in the book, and also feel so grateful not only to have received the gift of your story as the person who put the book together, but also so excited for everyone else to be able to read your story, because it is such a incredible and just unbelievable, speechless experience. So maybe we could start. I know that you do so much, and also I want to talk about the work that you're doing now, because I think it's so important, especially since we're all at home with, you know, some of us with kids, some without, and can also put a lot of the work that you're doing into practice since kids are home. So I think it'd be great to talk about that too.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of free resources that parents are using with their kids at home, and educators. But just to give a little insight into my story, my 6-year-old son was murdered at Sandy Hook Elementary School in 2012, when a former student whose mother had taught at the school shot his way into the school, and proceeded to gun down 20 first graders in 2 first grade classrooms and 6 educators in one of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history. Actually, and he's actually now on the short list for the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I don't know if you knew that, Katherine.
I did. You emailed me that. It's so exciting.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. So that is that was the start of my journey. When I came home, I actually found a message that he had written on our kitchen chalkboard, and he had written 3 words: nurturing, healing, love. Words obviously that a 6-year-old wouldn't say normally. I believe that there was a spiritual awareness that he had, that he wasn't going to be around for very much longer, but he wanted to leave a message of hope, and a really kind of like a guide for us to be able to survive and thrive. And when I saw that message, I knew instantly that if the shooter, a young man, obviously hurt people, had been able to give and receive nurturing, healing love, Jesse's message, that the tragedy would never have happened. It was as simple as that. And I knew that I would be spending the rest of my life spreading that message. And that is literally what I've done every single day since, is spread that message of nurturing, healing, love. And healing in that message is actually means forgiveness. Forgiveness means healing, and it's such a healing process, as you know. And so that started me on my forgiveness journey.
I think it's such, I mean, I know that parts of this may have cut out a little bit because of the connection, but so many people have, you know, in my experience of doing this book and promoting this book, have specifically talked about your story, and how you used this. You know, a lot of people handle tragedies and challenges in life, and, you know, in a variety of different ways. And you use this to not only feel your way through in the beginning and have moments that you spoke of in the book of anger and frustration and heartbreak and devastation, of course, and then getting to a place where you had compassion and empathy for the person who took your son's life, which is an incredible place to get to. And then also to use your loss as a way to fuel all the work that you do now in honor of your son, and also to be able to give kids what the boy who took your son's life did not have, which I think it's such a heroic and incredible thing. And also a gift that you're giving to so many people, is not only sharing your story, but also instead of staying and not doing something about it, you're using all of your energy and any hurt from the situation and pain in the situation to cause change, which is such an incredible thing.
Well, I realized how important forgiveness was. I did not want to be another victim of the shooter. And if I remained angry and resentful of what he did, then I would be a victim. And you know, I had a 12-year-old son, and I wanted to model for him what resilience looked like, how you can literally grow through difficulty in your life, any difficulty that we go through, any pain, any sort of roadblock or challenge that we run into is actually an opportunity for growth, including being home, you know, and the change that we're going through in our society with the coronavirus. It is actually, as painful as it is an opportunity for each one of us to grow as individuals and all of us as a society.
I love that. I think it's looking at, I've heard a couple people say that now, and I did a conversation last week with Devon Franklin, who's also in the book, and he said that this is God's way of giving people the time at home that to focus on themselves and do inner work that we never would have been able to give the time to ourselves because everything is so fast paced and we have so much going on. And to be able to look at that, look at this time home as an opportunity to focus on, you know, forgiveness journeys, what that means to you. And then of course, a plethora of other incredible things that we can do to allow ourselves to grow and into amazing people. And I think I would love also, just because I think that there are a lot of moms who are at home with their children right now, I would love to talk more about, you know, what you've done with this final message that your son Jesse left you of nurturing, healing, love, and how you've put that into action.
Absolutely. Well, I realized that what happened to Jesse, and actually a lot of the suffering that our children have while they're in school, including a lot of the actually mental illness, anxiety, bullying, substance abuse, that are not only in schools, but then they translate out into society, because obviously those issues don't go away when we graduate. And a lot of that is preventable. And a lot of that is preventable by teaching kids social and emotional character development, basically essential life skills, how to have healthy relationships, how to manage our emotions, how to be resilient and grow through issues, how to make responsible decisions. All of these skills and tools are things that we're not born with. We have to learn. And I knew that, you know, if the shooter in our case, who was actually a student of Sandy Hook Elementary School, if he had been taught these essential life skills, he would have made different decisions. And so I decided to dedicate my life to making sure that every child has access to what we know is in their best interest. There's decades of research showing that teaching kids these skills and tools not only helps their grades and test scores, raises graduation rates, but reduces stress and anxiety, reduces mental illness, substance abuse, incarceration later in life, violence, bullying. It even lowers divorce rates. So it's really, really important. And I wish that I had these skills and tools earlier. I wasn't taught, and I learned as an adult. So you can learn at any age. So what we did in the Jessie Lewis Choose Love movement was create next generation lifespan programming, and we offer it for free. So, and especially in this time where kids are at home, our programs are in schools in every single state. In fact, in some states, they're the most taught social and emotional program in the state. We're in 100 countries, spread by word of mouth. But specifically for kids and parents that are home, we have live streaming lessons now directly into the home. We're going to have live webinars next month. We've got kids that have recorded the lessons that are offering them to other kids. And so we've got lots of stuff going on. It's a great time right now because we have time to go
Right.
on our website and check out how you can, and our main message is choose love over fear, basically. And there never was a better time for that message than now.
Yeah, we're gonna put, when we're done with this conversation, we'll make sure to put in our stories the link and all the information to get that, because I think there are a lot of parents who, are at home and have children at their homes and, don't have any structure or anything to educate them necessarily. I know that some kids have an hour-long class that's on the iPad, but to be able to use this time to teach children about nurturing, healing, love, and social emotional learning is such a great time to do that. And I know that you have such amazing resources and an online presence that I think will really help a lot of people who are, sitting at home with several children right now and don't really know um, how to educate them to keep up with their, with what they're supposed to be learning in school. And we can't do that right now, obviously. So I think it's a great time right now for us to be having this conversation, but also for other parents and just people who might know other people with kids to be able to kind of shine a light and spread the message and awareness about what you're doing.
Yeah, all of our programming is no cost. And for parents that are home with elementary school kids, I would direct them to the Choose Love at Home program. Free, short, fun videos, lots of resources that you can do with your kids at home. And it's teaching them essential life skills that they are going to use for the rest of their life. And we teach everything in a very simple formula for choosing love. And we start with courage, because courage, of course, is the most important character value that underlies all the rest. Then we use Jesse's message, which you can see in back of me.
I noticed that. I love that.
Yeah, so we use nurturing, which means loving kindness and gratitude. Gratitude is a great mind shifter. We all have tens of thousands of thoughts every single day, the majority of which are negative because we're born with a negative bias. And our brains are wired for survival, actually, not for happiness. So that's why the majority of our thoughts every day are negative. So we can use gratitude as the great mind shifter. We can, when we think, we can only focus on one thought at a time. So if you have some negative thoughts creeping in, if you have some anxiety, maybe even fearful thoughts or angry thoughts, you can choose to think of something that you're grateful for. And it actually pushes that negative thought out. And then, of course, that sets you up for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Healing literally means forgiveness. And it's a really great time to think about what you're holding on to. Who are you giving your personal power away to? Who is someone or something that's hurt you? But in reality, my definition of forgiveness is taking your personal power back. So who are you allowing to control your thoughts, which impact your feelings, which then impact your behavior? By forgiving, you're literally cutting the cord that attaches you to pain and taking your personal power back. And I saw that in a lot of the stories, Katherine, that were in your beautiful book. A lot of them talked about how empowering forgiveness is. And there's also decades of research on the benefits of forgiveness. People who forgive have less heart attacks. They live longer. They sleep better. They have less pain. They have less stress and anxiety. They have a significantly less amount of anger. And that is just our choice to forgive. And I think in our society, we believe that forgiveness is a gift that we give someone else. And it's really a gift that you're giving yourself. So forgiveness, and then that really empowers us to move into love, which is compassion in action. And it's having the courage to step outside of our comfort zone. I think everybody has done that now, not because we chose to, but because we're all a little bit outside of our comfort zone.
Mm.
And by the way, that's the only time that we grow is when we are outside our comfort zone. So this is the perfect time. We're set up for personal growth and development. And that's a great time when we can reach out and help other people. And when we do that, when we've had the courage to shift our focus to gratitude, when we've chosen to forgive and cut that cord that attaches us to pain, when we've chosen to step outside of our comfort zone, even if you didn't choose it, and then you help somebody else, you're choosing love and you're taking your personal power back and you're literally making the world a better place.
I love that. And I love that you touched on forgiveness as the making a shift in your mind is forgiveness not being a gift that you give another person, but a gift that you really give yourself, and taking your power back. Because I think a lot of us, and myself included, have gone through times and moments where we feel that that forgiveness can feel like a weakness instead of something that's an empowering feeling or action, and not something where some people struggle with it feeling like a betrayal of their own hurt, that you're giving someone else a gift, and why would you do that if they've wronged you or caused you pain? So I love that you were saying that forgiveness is to be able to look at forgiveness as you taking your power back and you being the person that's in control here. I had somebody ask a question saying, if you have any advice for people feeling like they can't get over something, or that they can't struggle with that they can't get past something to get to a place of forgiveness. And I think you spoke about this because you were very open about not getting to a place of forgiveness overnight right away. And so I think for some people, and in this book, you'll see, which your story is, speaks to it, how different forgiveness is for everyone and how different the journey is. And so I think for people who, think I can't get over something, I can't get past something, first I would tell you to read Scarlett's section in the book. But also maybe you have advice specifically for people who feel like they can't get past something, or they might be stuck in their journey with forgiveness.
I definitely do. I think it's important to understand that forgiveness begins with a choice. The fact that they're on this Instagram Live and that they're listening and that they've read your book means that they are looking into forgiveness and they want to forgive. And so I would just encourage them to make that choice. But just because you've made the choice of forgiveness does not mean that you don't fall back into anger. I talk about that in my own journey. I mean, I made the choice to forgive, but it doesn't mean that everything is sunshine and rainbows now. I still have anger on, holidays that come up, Valentine's Day, my birthday, Jesse's birthday. When I go to the grocery store and I see a 6-year-old walking with his mom holding hands, or maybe even a 13-year-old, because he would be 13 now. And so forgiveness starts with a choice, and you talk about this in your book as well. And then it becomes a process. So it's a choice that you can make right now, and it's very empowering, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to fall back into anger, and it's perfectly normal. And when you do, you take a deep breath, you center yourself, and you forgive again. So it starts with a choice and then it becomes a process. But I really encourage everyone to make the choice, because it is the best choice that you will ever make. It's one of the most important decisions I've ever made.
I like that you're saying, because I think people are really responding well to this idea that you can allow yourself to feel anger, because so many people are really quick to judge people's forgiveness journeys if they have trigger moments like you're explaining, where they feel sadness or anger, or they go back to a feeling of not feeling like they're able to forgive. And I think that the idea of being able to be gentle with yourself in those moments and allow yourself to feel them, feel angry, feel sad, feel devastated and heartbroken, and then be able to take a deep breath and bring yourself back is the most important thing. And just because you have those moments does not mean that you don't know how to practice forgiveness, or you haven't practiced forgiveness. as you're saying, it's a process and it's a journey for so many people, and myself included. And I think that makes forgiveness, at least in my opinion, a little bit less daunting, because it's not like it has to be one specific way forever. You're allowed to feel again, and that's okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's so empowering though, and it's contagious, because once you start, it feels really good to take your personal power back, and you really do realize that you were giving it away to someone that hurt you.
Mhm.
And so it's the most empowering thing that you can do.
Yeah, I love that. It's so incredible and so inspiring.
You
And
know, I one of your so Tanya Brown. I loved all the stories, by the way. I thought they were fantastic, and they all came to the same conclusion, but in different ways with different styles. And I thought that was awesome. I learned a lot. I loved Tanya Brown, who is the sister of Nicole Brown Simpson, who was murdered. I loved her quote about forgiveness. She said, "It's not about releasing the person who hurt you from their responsibility. It's about releasing yourself from trauma." And I
right.
thought that was an excellent quote. As I read through the book, I was taking vigorous notes, in how, and learning, the different styles, as you said, of forgiveness. And there's so many different stories, and people did it in different ways in different time frames, and for different reasons. But it was so powerful for each one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think that everyone's story really spoke and spoke to the different ways that we practice forgiveness, and different ways that we struggle with it and how we
Mhm.
look at it, and hearing other people's experiences of with forgiveness and also struggling with forgiveness helped me a lot. And so I think it will, someone will be able to read this book and say, oh, I really relate to Scarlett's story, or I really relate to Tanya's story, or Sebastian's story, or all the different people, because forgiveness, as we know, is such a complicated topic, and one that we all have such different relationships to. And so I am so grateful to every single person, and so
And your story, because you shared a story
yes.
about forgiving a very dear lifelong friend that you had a
Mhm.
falling out with.
Yes.
And I thought that was a beautiful story as well. When did you went on a process, and you went on a journey? In fact, that's why you wrote this book.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. It's why I
yeah.
became interested in the topic of forgiveness, because I think a lot of people have been talking to me about this book, and they're like, well, why did you decide to write about that? It's such a random topic. And I'm like, it is, but it's something that I was really struggling with, and that I didn't feel like I had any guidance as to how to handle it, and navigate my way through. And I truly, talking to 22 people, talking to you, in this process of writing this book and getting it done, that's where I found my most amazing and life-changing uh, education when it came to forgiveness, and how to welcome it into my life, and how to view it in different ways, and also understanding that it doesn't need to be a one and done process, that it can be an ongoing process. And so I think when you are able to be open to the idea of how many different ways there are available to practice forgiveness, it can be daunting, but it can also be really exciting, because there's no right or wrong way for people to practice forgiveness, which I think that this book really shows. So it's up to every single person on their own how they choose to handle it and navigate.
And I think it's a great time, now that we're all home together, to really start to think about what we're holding on to that is negatively impacting our lives, because it can actually negatively impact our health as well. And
Yes.
really open up and talk to your family about that. There's a little story about spider monkeys. And I don't know if you know this, but in Africa, spider monkeys are very elusive. You can barely even see a spider monkey. And so in order to catch them, they drill this little hole in the side of a branch, and they put a few peanuts in the hole. And so the spider monkey will smell the peanuts, and then they'll leave, by the way, for the night. And then the monkey will come up, smell the peanuts, stick their hand in and grab a hold of the peanuts, and then not be able to get their hand out because the hunter has made the hole just big enough for the peanuts. But when the monkey sticks their little hand in and holds the peanuts, they can't get their hand out. And so the hunter comes back the next day and walks right up to the monkey, who's like, oh, trying to get his hand out of the hole, but can't get the hand out because it's not big enough with the peanuts in, and they catch the spider monkey. So that's just a little visual for us to think about. What are we holding so tightly to that's actually putting us in harm's way? And can we open up our minds, open up our hearts, and forgive for our own good, right? Mm-hmm. And not get caught in the trap of giving our personal power away to someone else, and especially someone else who hurt us.
Yeah, I love that analogy. I was wondering where that was going, but it was really. I love spider monkeys. I love that analogy, and I know that we've gone on a little bit longer than we were supposed to, but this was just such an amazing conversation, and I'm so grateful and also so proud of you for doing your first Insta Live.
This was great. Thank you for your patience.
Of course. We'll try and do this again soon, and also try and reschedule when we were going to be doing a live in-person conversation. But for now, we want to thank Books A Million, who got a lot of the books. And if you guys want them, we'll make sure to put them on an additional slide after. And thank you so much, Scarlett. I am so grateful for you in my life, in this book, and for giving your gift of wisdom and forgiveness to everybody who tuned in and is lucky enough to hear from you. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Katherine.
Bye. Have a good night. Stay safe and healthy.
Bye-bye.